The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films are painfully overrated. I don't understand it. I know that this is going to be something where I'm told that I'm old and stupid, but the Tom Holland films are better acted, they're better performed, they're better written, they're better shot. I really dislike the Tobey Maguire films. A long time ago, I raised a son to know his Lord and Miller from his Ford and Hiller.
Now we're turning our arguments into content. This is I Am Your Father, where Gen X meets Gen Z in hyperspace.
Hello, I'm Graham.
And I am Braden. How we doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Did I actually raise a son to know his Lord and Miller from his Ford and Hiller?
No, I think that's why we're laughing.
Yeah, I think I
Ford
might.
and Hiller. I think those are made up names.
No, they're not. You need to look them up on IMDb.
You just have to make stuff up because you're running out of ways to,
No, I really
these?
just wanted to connect Lord and Miller in some way. And also, I realized that after the episode aired, after last week's episode aired, that I'd accidentally repeated one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like the Gyllenhaal and Gerwig, I had done like 6 episodes ago. I completely forgot. So I did the listeners a dirty accidentally, I didn't mean to.
What a bum.
I didn't mean to be, unoriginal. So I was like, I'm going to go out on a limb on this one.
Yeah. Well, you needed some redemption, apparently.
Arthur Hiller, no. Director of Love Story?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
John Ford? No? Okay.
Nope.
Well,
anyways,
we need to work on that. Yeah.
We have a main topic today that we'll touch on in a little bit, but just a little preview. We are going to be deep diving / reviewing Project Hail Mary, which I'm very excited to talk about. I have lots of thoughts. I'm sure you do too. I don't know what you thought about it. You don't know what I thought about it, so we'll dive into that in a little bit.
That's right. We haven't talked to each other about our feelings of the film.
Nope.
But I guess a few things we can discuss before we get there. First off, we've got a trailer park. We're going to cover two pretty big trailers.
Yeah.
And then we also had the Academy Awards. The Academy Awards were just last week, and you and I haven't had a chance to talk about it. But what are your high level thoughts on the Oscars?
I don't know that I have super high level thoughts on the Oscars. I don't put too much weight into them, especially considering there's 5 award shows beforehand that are all giving out the same awards to different people and whatnot. Mm-hmm. No, I think it was a fairly positive year overall. I think I would agree with a lot of the choices. I know that some of them are controversial. I know some people are saying Michael B. Jordan is one of the worst Oscar winners of all time. I think that's pretty dang crazy to say.
I think that's harsh. I don't agree.
It's one thing to be upset that Timmy didn't win. I can understand that because I think he really had a great shot and he's been campaigning for an Oscar for a few years now. So I understand being disappointed there, but to then flip it around and say that Michael B. Jordan doesn't deserve an Oscar, I think is also pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think that's silly. I was surprised by his win, to be honest. I don't think it's undeserved, but I was surprised. I thought that that Timothy and Leo it was a 2-person race, is kind of what I was thinking. But I was glad to see him win. I was glad to see Sinners get some recognition. Not as much as some people thought it should or could, but it felt equitable. And then the Best Picture win feels good to me. I think that I had One Battle as my number 2 film, but of course, both of our number 1 films just was completely ignored.
Yeah.
And I guess not surprisingly, but I think I had Sinners 3 and One Battle 2. So I think what I was most happy about was that the weighted voting that goes into the Best Picture winner didn't give us a consensus 3rd or 4th pick like it has for the last several years, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, overall, I think that was probably the biggest thing. Obviously, One Battle winning was not really controversial at all. A lot of people expected it. The only argument is there are a large group of people that think Sinners should have won everything, but I kind of always assumed that One Battle was going to win Best Picture. And then I think just maybe the biggest surprise is Chalamet getting blanked overall. Like, Marty Supreme got nothing. And I think that there's a really interesting narrative right now. I don't know how aware you are of this, but he did an interview a few weeks ago. Or
why would I not be aware?
Well, I don't know. Maybe you're not on TikTok. Who knows?
You talking about the ballet and opera?
Yeah, the ballet and opera thing. Well, I think there's a few things to clear up here. First of all,
I got news for you. This was not exclusive to TikTok. This story was everywhere.
Okay. Anyways, I think one thing to note is that this really like blew up after voting had closed.
After voting had closed, yeah.
Timmy didn't lose the Oscar because of his comments about ballet and opera. And additionally, I would, think what you want, but I would maybe look a little more into everything he was saying and other things that he has said about ballet and opera and all that. I mean, people are taking a clip out of context and making it sound like he's, a grade A hater. And I don't think that's the case. I really don't believe that.
That's unfortunately the culture that has become dominant. People want a reason to hate, and they want someone to hate, and but maybe even more than that, they want somebody new to hate on a really consistent basis. So yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah,
definitely that. The only thing we like more than an underdog story is a takedown piece.
Yeah. What's the Green Goblin quote? He's like, the people love a hero. The only thing they love more than a hero is to see a hero fall.
Yeah,
die trying.
It's very true. So I totally agree. I think that his remarks, while maybe ill-conceived, were not only blown out of proportion, but fairly accurate, unfortunately. And I'm one of the people that actually occasionally attends ballet and goes to an opera. And, I'm the youngest person there by 30 years.
Well, go ask anybody you know. Name 3 ballets and 3 operas. And they can't. So it's like, it's just like one of those. I could, but the average person could name 3 movies.
And this is part of the dialogue, right? I'm not the same generation as Timothée Chalamet or you, right? I mean, I was raised at a time when the opera was still seen, ballet was still seen as the maybe highest form of artistic expression, and there was a reverence to those 2 art forms, and they weren't by any means popular at the time, but they were still revered. Yeah. And I think it's just less so because now we are worried about what's in the little magic box in our hand, and less so about something else like that. Well, you can't survive on 15-second. I mean, 15-second clips is not going to get you through the opera.
No, I mean, definitely not.
It requires a great deal of attention to appreciate. And unfortunately, I think that as a culture and as a country and as a world, our brains have been rewired to not know how to appreciate those things. And so I think it's sad. I think had he expressed it in a way that was more
than just a comment,
coming from it from the point of sadness and devastation that these are art forms that are being lost, rather than writing them off in the way that I think so many others do. But I think it's false. I think it's false morality that people are freaking out about.
It absolutely is. Yeah. It absolutely is. They saw something they could jump on, so they did it. But listen, at the end of the day, Timmy got blanked at the Oscars, and then he really said, I don't care. Because the next day, dropped posters for Dune, and then the day after that, a trailer, and immediately, and I mean immediately, like I've never seen his public image suffer as much as it did the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And the 180 that has already happened just from this Dune trailer, even just hearing his voice chanting throughout the trailer, it's hilarious. It's just like he made an immediate comeback, just saying, yeah, I'm serious, by the way, still.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think we should jump into our trailer park section now.
I think it's perfect. Yeah. Cue the banjo. Let's go to trailer park.
Yeah. I guess we need some music for trailer park. Yeah.
We do.
I don't have any music for trailer park.
We do. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to compose something. I'm going to compose like some kind of sci-fi epic, but done with a banjo and a jug,
Okay. Sounds awesome.
I'm going to figure it out.
Dune Part 3.
Dune Part 3 trailer. We got a Dune Part 3 trailer this week. In fact, we both got to see it, I'm assuming, on the big screen. I watched that trailer in IMAX last night.
So did I. Holy crap.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. I loved this trailer.
Dude, come on.
Dude.
Let me just say, we're going to be talking about 2 trailers today, Dune and Spider-Man.
Yes, it was a good week in trailers.
I have never watched trailers so many times. Like, I've seen each of those trailers between, like, 7 to 10 times in the last week. I can't stop watching them. I love both of them. This Dune trailer, the score and the music is just, like, it's wonderful. It is so awesome. I was very nervous about... I mean, it sounds something to be stupid, or it sounds stupid to be nervous about, I should say. I was nervous about Timmy's head being shaved. I thought that he was going to look really goofy. He's obviously playing quite a bit older from what we understand. I was a little nervous. I didn't know where we were going, and all my nerves are gone. I'm completely on board, and I legitimately think after watching this trailer that there's a real possibility that it's my favorite of the 3. Like,
that it could be.
It looks so good. Yeah. So good.
Yeah, I mean, everything about this trailer looked fun. I mean, it was every one of these films has been a who's who of, in terms of the cast, and with each subsequent edition or part, there's a reveal of a couple new cast members. There's this one looks better than ever. I think Pattinson is even a little upgrade to Butler, and in terms of like, oh yeah, cool. I mean, this looks really good. Anya Taylor-Joy seems to have a really good size, important part in this. Yeah. This looks everything as good, every bit as good as the first 2, and I'm hoping to see a little bit more Zendaya action. I'm hoping to get to know Florence Pugh's character more, Anya Taylor-Joy's character, and Chalamet looks fantastic.
Here's a question. So we know going into it that we have a different cinematographer this time. Mm-hmm. A lot of people were pretty upset about this, and now having seen the trailer
on the internet.
Yeah. Now having seen the trailer, are you feeling that? Does it feel just so different and like not to scale of the last few movies, or do you feel in safe hands?
No, I mean, I do feel in safe hands. I think that when you've got an established world and language, I think that, and then you bring in a new cinematographer, but not a new director, you are, I think, going to... There's going to be a language and a shorthand that new cinematographer is going to have to like fit into, while still bringing their own eye and their own view of the lens, so to speak. So I'm sure that what's his name, Linus Sandgren, the new cinematographer. I'm sure that he is bringing his own vision to this, but still having to sort of sit in and say, okay, how do I make this look like a Dune film? I mean, it's not like he hasn't done some beautiful films before. I mean, he's La La Land and First Man and No Time to Die, and this is a beautiful good cinematographer.
Movies. Yeah, beautiful.
He knows how to shoot film. Yeah, so I think the combination of he and Denis Villeneuve, it's going to be just fine. I really don't anticipate us feeling like this is a major change that we should be worried about.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
I don't know. Yeah,
it already won me over.
Yeah. Wuthering Heights he shot most recently. I mean, he's got a good list of credits.
Yeah, we're gonna be fine. In the scale of this trailer, just put me at ease immediately.
Babylon.
And I think it's kind of worth noting that there's been a little discourse online about the fact that obviously Dune 3 and Doomsday are coming out on the same day, and we know that Dune has basically won the IMAX exclusivity for the first few weeks of release. And there are quite a few Marvel fans who are like, not too happy about this.
Yeah.
To me, this is a no-brainer. If there's a movie to see in IMAX, it's going to be Dune. Do we really need to see Avengers in IMAX? Dune is shot for IMAX. Like, the whole thing is shot for IMAX.
I'm actually surprised it went this way, like, because it's the right choice, and it really feels that the business of the film and the studio, like, I really thought in my head, had I just had to go in blind, and you said guess which one of these two films is actually getting the IMAX exclusivity, I would have been like, obviously Disney is going to figure out how to make this happen, and this is going to suck because I really want to see Dune in IMAX. I think that I could not see Doomsday in IMAX and be fine with that.
Absolutely. It would have been criminal.
Yeah, but I don't want to see Dune unless I'm seeing it on the biggest possible screen that I can find in Southern California. I can see it in the best possible sound system. I want my bones to shake while I'm watching this film.
Oh yeah.
And I want to just be absolutely assaulted with the visuals. So I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that this is the way it actually worked out. I'm like, oh wow, somebody made the right choice. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
We are lucky. Real quick.
Yes.
We had this as our number 10. I drafted it number 10 for our box office draft. Dune 3. I said it was going to do north of 700 million. I'm actually, in looking at this list, I'm a tiny bit surprised it's as low as it is, but I guess there's just a lot of big kids movies coming out this year that really kind of threw it up. But we even have this behind Jumanji 3, which is surprising. You pulled Jumanji 3 at 9.
Well, I think part of the reason is, like, although the Dune movies are really well acclaimed and loved, they haven't, like, made a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, I honestly can't remember now, so I don't want to. I'm sure you're probably right, but so we had it there, and then you took it as your our third overall pick for most anticipated.
Yeah, I stand by that.
I mean, it's a really good 1-2 punch that you have there, Doomsday and Dune. Yeah, where I have Odyssey and Brand New Day as my first two picks. So those are.
Well, speaking of, I think this is a good segue into our other trailer, being Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer.
So what I want to ask you before we dive into the trailer was, were you following what Sony was doing the day leading up to the trailer?
No, I missed it. I saw Holland's announcement that they were doing something special, and they were going to do something that had never been done before. Which I usually, when I hear things like that these days, I always kind of
write it off.
I'm sure it's never been done before. Yeah. So I honestly, I kind of like forgot about it, and then it felt like the very next day the trailer was out. And so I do remember when I first saw the trailer pop up on my IG feed, I thought to myself, what was the thing that they did that nobody's ever done before? How did I miss that? It's only been 24 hours. My timing might have been confused, but I completely missed whatever it was that they did. Tell me about it.
So what they did was, the concept was basically around the world at the start of a brand new day, so different time zones. So at the break of day, a Spider-Man fan,
start of an actual brand new day.
Of an actual brand new day for so said area of the world.
12 a.m. in every time zone?
I think it was like 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., but something like that.
Not a brand new day.
They had fans, like, record a little video, like, we love Spider-Man so much, yada, yada, yada. And then their next slide was a 1 second snippet of the trailer. So just like you would get like a visual of, Peter falling off a building or hitting the ground or whatever, or Scorpion or whatever. And so it was kind of fun. I mean, I was busy that day, so I wasn't checking in every single hour for what it was, but like every 4 or 5 hours I would check up for the updates to see what we had up until that point. And I thought it was pretty fun, and people were trying to splice the images together into how they thought the trailer was going to go. And it was just it was a cool concept because there was a lot of speculation, there was a lot of conversation around the trailer, a lot of excitement for the trailer, and I think it paid off because, for context, the most viewed trailer of all time within a 24-hour span was recently taken by Deadpool and Wolverine, and mind you, it crushed the record.
Right.
It beat Endgame, it beat all these other ones, it crushed it. 365 million views in 24 hours. And now Spider-Man Brand New Day has crushed that record by doubling that number and being in the 7.5 100 million views in 24 hours.
Doubling it? Jeez.
Doubled it. Doubled the record. And so I just real quick would like to point out to you that I have this movie on my box office draft, and it's gonna crush.
So I took it as most anticipated, and you took it as box office. Like, let me pull this up.
I think that's correct. If I'm wrong, then good for you, and I'm embarrassed.
No. So let's see. I drafted it for box office.
Oh, you drafted it for box office?
Not you. Yeah.
Okay, well, dang it.
You're
dang
wrong.
it. No. I'm going to lose.
And by the way, I also drafted it for most anticipated. It's on Spider-Man Brand New Day is on both of our lists. As both the lists we put together there, it's owned by me.
I wanted it. You just took it from me.
You did. You
stole it from me.
That was a really protracted story to tell me that you owned this movie and you didn't even own this movie.
Yikes. You know,
all right, we had a comment on the last episode that you had brought receipts in terms of my feelings about movie rating. This time I've got the receipts. You are wrong.
Yeah. Yikes.
Brand New Day is mine.
Ooh, I'm going to edit that out.
Brand New Day is mine.
Yeah. That's getting edited out for sure.
Yeah, we did split Dune though. I have it on box office and you have it on anticipated. And let's see. Interestingly enough, I'm not sure how this worked out because for most anticipated, your first pick was Doomsday. You said 4.5 stars. Your second pick was Dune, and you said 5 stars. Was the choice? So it's a little out. Yeah. Star wise, it's a little out of order, but
the concept was I expected Dune to be better, but like a part of me was more excited at the time for Doomsday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now that there's a Dune trailer, I would probably swap that around.
I gotta say, had Dune 3 and Brand New Day both been on the table when it came to me at 4, I would have taken Dune over Brand New Day.
Yeah.
So I took Brand New Day at 4 because you took Dune at 3. And so I am technically in my heart a little bit more excited for Dune Part 3 than I am for Brand New Day, but I'm really pumped for Brand New Day. Now, let's stop messing around with that nonsense and let's talk a little bit about the Brand New Day trailer because it was a really cool trailer worth talking about. We got to see a lot of secondary characters throughout, and then potentially some of our big villains, but we didn't get to see everything. So what did we see? We saw the Punisher. We saw Scorpion. We saw Bruce Banner. We saw the Hand. We saw Tarantula.
Boomerang.
Boomerang. Did we see? We did not really see Sadie Sink. There's a whole lot of speculation. People just on there saying, like, we for sure now know who Sadie Sink is because of this trailer, and there she is right there. And really, what I saw was a hand cuffed to a chair, and I saw somebody's back that was wearing 8 layers of clothing and a hood. So, the internet could be right, but the internet is also full of false outrage over Dune 3 getting an IMAX and Timothée Chalamet not liking the opera. So
right. Well, here's the thing. We do know for sure that is Sadie Sink. We know that for sure because of set photos and whatnot of her wearing this outfit. What we don't know for sure is who she's playing. It seems to be like the general consensus is that it's all but confirmed at this point that she'll be playing Jean Grey. And that the trailer confirmed it because we saw somebody using some form of telepathic ability. And I would say that I would definitely lean towards this side of the argument. I would definitely lean in the direction of, she probably is Jean Grey. They probably are working towards setting up the mutant saga moving forward. Good place to do it. So I understand all that. I don't think it's confirmed. I don't think it's rock solid. I would really hate to walk into this movie 100% convinced that we're getting Jean Grey just for her to be playing, a completely different character, and there would definitely be a level of disappointment.
This is at least the 3rd or 4th character that everyone's been certain she's playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we may have settled on this as the collective wisdom of internet crowds, but I don't know. I mean, this feels better to me than some of the other choices that people are throwing out there, but I guess I'm just kind of tired of speculation, and I'm happy to not know and go into it believing that they're going to give us the right character and the right story, and she's going to deliver the right performance.
I think it was the right call. Like, we saw enough in this trailer. We didn't need to see Sadie Sink. We didn't need to know who she was playing. In
some ways, we saw too much already. There are things that I would be fine with them having not shown us.
Yeah. I can understand that. So let's touch on the visuals, because I think this is a really, really big change from what we would call, the Homecoming trilogy, John Watts trilogy,
visually,
to this one. Visually, night and day. Completely different visually.
Give me some examples.
First of all, just the color grading is very different. The lighting.
You feel like it's more primary. It gives a little bit more of like a comic book contrast sort of feel to it.
In a lot of ways, it feels much more cinematic movie and much less SNL skit. Like in terms of how scenes are lit, how flat characters and backgrounds look.
You're saying that the first 3 Watts films look like an SNL skit?
At times. So here's an interesting comparison, okay? And I'll send this to you after. But we have this scene in the new trailer of Peter at a house party, right? And he's looking over at MJ, and it cuts back to him, and he's just lit very well. It looks very natural lighting. The scene looks great. And then if you look at the house party that Peter and Ned go to in Homecoming, the very first Spider-Man or Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, it looks like we do, like studio lights in front of us, just like bright. And it just looks completely flat. It looks unnaturally lit, and it's something that I never really noticed, because there's a lot of things that I really love about the Homecoming trilogy. I'm probably more positive on it than most people are overall. I would have the Tom movies ahead of the Tobey Maguire movies, and that's very controversial. But I think there's a lot of examples in this trailer of moments where we're getting shots in terms of lighting, but also in terms of camera angles and cinematography and the way that they're shooting certain things, where I'm just like, we've been sorely missing this. I didn't even really realize how much better Spider-Man could look. Yeah.
It's an interesting point. We'll go back. I'd like to go back to that first film and rewatch it and kind of compare it in that way. I know that in a lot of ways it's shot in like a high school rom-com kind of fashion, specifically to give it a certain vibe that, it's like, Spider-Man, not rom-com, teen com, like high school teen comedy kind of vibe. And so, but I don't know that I would have ever thought of it as like an SNL skit. I guess it's a different style that to me contrasted really interestingly with everything else that Marvel was putting out at the time. It just had a very different vibe, and it worked really well. And I think the vibe in some ways, especially in Homecoming, is disarming to the point that when the big reveal of a Vulture comes in, and it's really jarring. And I think in large part because of the way that the film is shot and edited to give you a totally different sense of the gravity until suddenly the gravity smacks you in the face.
No, absolutely. And I can understand that. And I'm not now going to be switching up and saying that I hate all the first 3 Tom Holland movies by any means.
That would be dumb.
I enjoy them a lot. I'm just saying, now having seen it in this form, at least just the trailer, seeing the visuals of this trailer made me realize that I was sorely missing out on what I'm now seeing and would have really appreciated maybe a little sooner. I think it's just shot in a much more interesting and compelling way. I will say there are some shots of the trailer, specifically slow motion shots, that are pretty like you can see the CGI, right? To me, I'm not too upset about this because there are these comic book panels, comic book covers that are happening right before our eyes in slow motion. I don't think a lot of the movie is going to be shot like this. I think that this is probably a set from a montage towards the beginning or the end of the movie, probably catching us up on where Spider-Man's been, for the last 4 years. So I'm pretty okay with that. And then I think just the other thing I would like to touch on is I really love the tone that the trailer's giving us. Like, there's a joke amongst Spider-Man fans that, we love to see Spider-Man heartbroken, poor, depressed, exhausted, that's just the best version of Spider-Man. Like, the worse off Spider-Man is, the happier his fans are, which is kind of like the scene of him watching MJ, like, you know, being hit on and whatnot, and then, you know, then getting smacked by the scorpion tail and all this stuff, and then he's sitting there doing his laundry. Like, this to me just feels so much like Spider-Man. And I think there's even a line in the trailer where it's like, sometimes for Spider-Man to win, like, Peter Parker has to lose, you know?
Yeah.
And this has just always been what has made Spider-Man so interesting and so fun. And so, like, I love that we're going with that tone, but then we're not sacrificing the humor completely. Like, there are humorous moments in this trailer that I think are really funny. Like, the little interaction with the Punisher, I think, is really great. The way they close out the trailer with the friendly neighbor, I think, is a legitimately very funny joke. And a really well acted reaction. Yeah. And so I honestly couldn't have been more happy with this trailer. I thought it was a really, really great trailer.
Good. How are you feeling about the idea that this is essentially this guy's directorial debut?
How?
Am I totally wrong about this?
No, Destin Daniel Cretton did Shang-Chi.
Oh, yeah, I'm totally wrong about this. No. Exclusively Brand New Day.
No.
Why is IMDb telling me that this movie is directed by Zay Bond?
It's not. I have no idea who that is. The guy who's directing this is the same guy who directed Shang-Chi.
That's right.
He was going to be directing Avengers 5 back when it was the Kang Dynasty. But when they, you know, shifted plans and all that, he went with Brand New Day. And the Russos went with the next two Avengers movies. So that's part. We've had this conversation before. That's part of the reason I was so excited for this movie to begin with. Is we were going to have Shang-Chi level action and visuals in a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, we have, and I'm just having an old man brain right now. I pulled it up on IMDb and I saw this name listed as the director, and I thought I don't know this name. And when I pull it up,
our tools
don't
failed us there.
They did, and both the actual tools and my okay, so before we move on to our main topic, I want to say one last thing on Brand New Day.
As do I.
Which is, or rather, I'm gonna go back to just the Tom Holland Spider-Man films and the home trilogy. I don't think personally that there's no debate for me that they are superior to the other two entries that we got in Spider-Man.
Okay.
They're significantly better. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films are painfully overrated. I don't understand it. I know that this is going to be something where I'm told that I'm old and stupid, but these are movies that are closer to me in age than they are to the current fandom or the younger fandom. Anyway, the Tom Holland films are better acted, they're better performed, they're better written, they're better shot. I really dislike the Tobey Maguire films. My favorite Tobey Maguire Spider-Man performance is when he's acting alongside Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield. Now, I personally enjoyed the first Garfield film a little bit better than I had the Tobey Maguire films, but I don't know that I think overall they're better films. I think that the Watts trilogy, the home trilogy, is the best Spider-Man that we've got.
Okay, well, here's my prediction. I think there's a legitimate chance that Brand New Day is one of the best Spider-Man movies we've ever gotten, if not the best.
I hope so. I hope that's true. And it looks great, and I'm excited for it.
I think it showed us its potential in this trailer, and they still have, how much longer to work on it and really finish it up and fine-tune it. I'm really excited for what we're seeing. I've also watched this trailer like 7 times. I can't stop watching it. I'm super excited about both of these movies. I'm going to throw out one prediction just to get it on record, so when the movie comes out, we can come back and see if I was right. But I'm pretty sure. I was noticing, and this was an original thought. Now I'm seeing it online, so other people have this same theory as me. But I thought this on my own, just for the record.
Okay.
During the trailer, there are certain shots. The whole trailer is color graded in certain ways, but there are certain shots where it is very dark and gloomy, like the skyline is very cloudy. My personal theory is that this is going to come in the beginning of the movie as we're catching up with where Spider-Man has been, and we are going to see Spider-Man saving some people during the events of the third act of Thunderbolts where the void was consuming New York. That's just my theory. We're going to see, and I think it'll be a fun way to connect, answer the question of where are these other people when these things are happening. I think it would be fun if it's actually addressed like, oh, he was there. He was just on the other side of New York trying to save people.
Yeah.
That's my theory. I think we're going to see that. Okay. So I'm just putting it on record.
I like that. Okay, great. So 2 great trailers. And
really great trailers.
Some really great films that we're both excited about. We finally got our first look at. So I'm pumped.
I'm super pumped.
Yeah. Should we get into our main topic for the day?
I think we should.
All right. Project Hail Mary. It's out this week, directed by Lord and Miller, adapted from the Andy Weir novel. You and I were both big fans of the novel itself. Were you previously a fan of Lord and Miller's work? How do you feel about their work historically?
Well, Lord and Miller did the Spider-Verse movies, right?
They are involved. They're produced. I don't remember if they directed them or not, but
well, maybe you can check on that while I discuss.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that they're definitely attached to the Spider-Verse movies in a fashion.
Yes.
And those are some of my favorite movies ever. Both Into and Across, I think, are perfect movies. So, and I also know that they were initially attached to Solo before they were fired from this project,
famously
right?
fired from Solo, yeah. So
and I
for
think that
Across the Spider-Verse, they wrote it, but didn't direct it. So they are connected to it. And then Into the Spider-Verse, same.
So they're writers.
Phil Lord is listed as a writer for Into the Spider-Verse. Miller's not. But they didn't direct either of those films.
Okay, understood. So that being said, they were famously fired from Solo.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they kind of, they got a little bit of their get back with another space movie.
Yeah.
And I'll wait to reveal my score and whatnot. But I will say this. Obviously, Andy Weir also wrote The Martian, right?
Yes.
The Martian is a movie that I really love. I think The Martian is a phenomenal movie. I watched the movie and then I read the book, and it's one of the rare instances where I did it in that order and then didn't prefer the book. I actually prefer the movie The Martian over the book The Martian.
Interesting.
Not a common take for me.
Yeah.
I'm like 95% of the time book over movie. So I thought that was interesting. I was very nervous about that going into this movie because I read Project Hail Mary, and I would say that it's actually one of my favorite books I've ever read. I thought it was a very, very good book.
You said you told me at the time you preferred it to The Martian.
I did. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I was very hesitant going into this movie because I enjoyed this book so much, but I was also honestly very excited at the same time. Then reviews start dropping and it's just getting ridiculous buzz. And I started to just be able to breathe again. Okay, it's going to be good. And so I think we should reveal our scores.
Okay.
I'm just giving my context going into the movie. I feel like bouncing around other things is going to be difficult without knowing generally at least how we feel about the movie.
Yeah. No, I thought that the scores would be a great conclusion to our debate about the film. But if you want to reveal your score now, go ahead. What? How did you score this film?
I gave it a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Okay.
Very great.
Very great. Yeah.
What did you give it?
I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Okay. So we're in the same boat here. And your 4 out of 5 is even better than my 4 out of 5.
Yeah, can you believe it?
Sometimes.
Can you believe it? Usually I'm a half a point to a point behind you in terms of my thoughts. No, I thought this was really good. There are things about it that I didn't love. I think after only one viewing, I think that from a film perspective, I prefer The Martian to this if I'm just kind of keeping in the Andy Weir verse.
Yeah.
And
I think I can agree with that.
I don't know that I'm willing to say if I don't know how I really feel if I liked the film The Martian better than the book. I liked them both, and in my opinion, the film The Martian is one of the best adaptations of a good novel that I've ever seen. I think that Ridley Scott did an amazing job of adapting this book. That's a tough book to adapt. But I also thought when reading Project Hail Mary that it could be a tough book to adapt. And actually, my opinion now has totally shifted. I now think that Andy Weir writes books that are perfect for adaptation, and they just seem really complicated, and they are. I mean, they obviously had to cut a lot of the sciencing out of this movie, the same way they had to cut a lot of the sciencing out of The Martian, but they still gave us a lot of sciencing. Those books have a lot of science in them. It's a lot of math.
Well, what's so good about it is I'm not good at science or math, but I can read those books and understand what's happening. Like he's able to convey these really complicated concepts and theories in a way that makes you feel like you're in the loop and that you're understanding what's happening. And so I think that's definitely one of his strong points. And that is one of my like nitpicks about this movie is I wish we got some more of the science and mathing like we did in The Martian. I feel like we did get more of that in The Martian.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I think I was most conscious of that during the third act. In fact, I think that brings up another point that I was curious about as far as your experience with the film. So this film has a 2 hour and 36 minute runtime. You tack on what I found to be about 40 minutes of trailers and commercials beforehand, which started 5 minutes late. This was a long night at the theater.
Yeah.
With all of that together, were you conscious of the runtime? Did it feel long to you, or did this movie feel paced right, and it was just when it came to a conclusion, you were like, yeah, that was perfect? What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I actually think it could have been a little longer, to be honest with you. About like 45 minutes into the movie with where we were at in the story, I said to myself, thank God this is a long movie. Because it needs it. Like, it's taking its time with things, and I was really appreciating that. And there was a lot to do. And so I was really thankful that it was a long movie. And then by, like, when it comes to, like, the last 10 to 15 minutes of the movie, I felt like we went through, like, the last fourth of the book, like, in 10 to 15 minutes. Like, I felt like we flew. So I was almost disappointed by the end. I was like, man, I wish we had just added, like, 10 more minutes to this movie. 10 or 20 minutes to this movie and just let it be a long movie.
I agree and disagree with you at the same time. So for me, the 2 hour 36 runtime, I could feel it.
Okay.
And I agree. Like when 45 minutes in, an hour into the film, I was like, how are we going to at this pace, how are we going to get through this whole book? And you really feel it in that third act. You're totally right. From the moment that they go their separate ways, like, first of all, they solved it. Like the solve of the science and how to save the stars happened like this. And then they're separating and then immediately going into, oh crap, I got to turn around and go save Rocky because we made a mistake. It felt like that was all so rushed. Whereas in the book, Weir really took his time with all of that. Yeah. You know? And so I feel like the first two acts were a little fat at times, and I was finding myself a little bothered by that. It's far overshadowed by how good other things are, but the karaoke scene didn't need to be that long. A lot of the lingering shots on Ryan Gosling's emotional trauma and how he's dealing with things, they felt a little self-indulgent to me. I felt like it just could have been paced a little bit better so that we then didn't have to rush at the end, which is what ultimately happened. But I still give it a 4. I still think it was really good, but that's why it's not a 4.5 or a 5 to me, is that I think the pacing is off. It's too slow in the first two acts and too fast in the third.
Yeah. I mean, I would both agree and disagree with you in the sense that the pacing is off because at the end we like jumped into hyperdrive, you know? But my solution wouldn't be trimming time off the first two acts. My solution would be adding time for the end, because I just personally at no point was checking my phone for time except towards the end, only because I had somewhere to be and that I was trying to get. So I was like, am I cutting it close? And I was. So that was the only reason. It wasn't because at any point I felt that the movie was dragging or I felt like we needed to hurry it up. So I wish honestly that it had just been a 3-hour movie and that let it just be a 3-hour science fiction epic, you know, like that's fine every once in a while. But yeah, I mean, we're complaining about that,
Yeah.
But there's a lot to really love about this movie.
Yeah. I mean,
really is.
Let's start with Gosling's performance.
Yeah.
Where do you think he rates for you right now in terms of charisma, in terms of comedic acting, dramatic acting? Where's he ranking for you in terms of who's out there in the field?
Yeah, I mean, every time Gosling is in a movie these days, he kind of reminds me that he needs to be in my top tier list of actors. Like, I'm trying to come up with a Ryan Gosling movie that I don't like, and I can't. I actually really love him as an actor, especially recently. I think him as Ken was one of the funniest performances I've seen in a movie ever. Obviously, we just talked last week or maybe 2 weeks ago about Drive. I think he's phenomenal in that. Crazy Stupid Love, I love him there.
La La Land is a big one for both of us.
La La Land is one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, Ryan Gosling, like, I'm just constantly reminded that, like, I suck because I don't think of him constantly as one of the best working actors. And I really think that I would maybe actually classify him as one of the few modern movie stars.
Yeah. So then would you say he was overrated, underrated, or properly rated?
I think right now he's probably pretty close to properly rated. Like, he's working a lot. I would say more recently he was underrated.
Yeah. I tend to see him as a bit underrated. I think, I mean, you just said you underrate him on a regular basis. I think I do the same thing. I think, and, you know, we just came through award season and I realized that this wasn't a big, like, Ryan Gosling movie year. Last year wasn't. But, like, he's not often given the Oscar credit or the awards credit or the recognition in that way. I think people see him as more of a movie star rather than an actor. And I think he's got some of the best comedic timing of anybody working today. Yeah. He obviously has more charisma than he knows what to do with, which for me was a tiny bit distracting, occasionally a little bit distracting in this film.
I agree.
You know, I mean,
he was almost too cool at times.
He was way too cool. At times, like,
and too buff,
which is also why, which is another thing that I struggled with. And we can circle back to that, but the believability of Gosling, I thought his overall performance was fantastic. I did struggle a tiny bit to see him as the professor, the nerdy professor that he's supposed to be, that Grace is supposed to be. You know, not unlike the way I felt about Hemsworth, you know, being a guy who's not good with the ladies or things like that. I mean, sometimes you just have to, like, modify the script a little bit based on the casting that you have chosen. And otherwise, he carries the film extremely well.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just him, right?
Yeah.
So there's definitely something to be said if you can do a 2.5 hour movie, basically running the show by yourself and stay entertaining the whole time. So, but I do agree with you. I think at times he was a little too cool. He was a little too Ryan Gosling at times. Here's a question for you.
Okay.
And I'm gonna jump into spoiler territory here.
Okay.
Just in case anybody hasn't seen the movie or read the book. Obviously, the trailer almost presents the twist as there's an alien, but really, that happens very quickly in the book. And the actual twist of the movie is the reveal that he was put on that ship against his will.
Yeah.
When I read this in the book, although it wasn't like a complete blindside, when I read in the book, I really felt the gravity of this.
Yeah.
Like, I really did. And I was concerned. When it happened in the movie, I was wondering if it just wasn't landing as well because I already knew it was coming, or if the movie just didn't handle it as well. And I'm leaning towards the movie not handling it as well because my wife didn't know anything about the story. She didn't even bring it up after the movie. We talked about the movie, and that was not one of the things we talked about.
Yeah. Meaning that point didn't seem relevant to her.
Right, exactly. Right, it wasn't like I can't believe that happened.
So I think the film did not handle it well, and here's why. In the book, the structure of how Andy Weir writes this is you wake up on a ship. You don't know who you are. You don't know where you are. You don't know why you're there, and you're trying to solve it. And then Grace keeps having these flashbacks, these memory surges that are coming to him. And so it creates this back and forth between the past on Earth and what's happening in real time in space. It's not unlike, but it's even more creative than what we get in The Martian, where you're cutting back and forth between the people on Earth and Mark up in space. In this case, it's Grace up in space and the people on Earth, but it's the past and he's remembering. Right. But in the book, if I recall correctly, Weir does a better job of explaining that structure to you and understanding these are memories. He's getting this back. And when you come back to Grace in the spaceship and with Rocky, there are a lot of times where he acknowledges what we just read. He acknowledges that he just remembered this. I don't think the film did a good job, unfortunately, of explaining that dichotomy between the two different timelines. I think it just seemed more like we as audience members were getting flashbacks, but not necessarily that Grace was just now remembering. In fact, so much so that when Grace uses the word astrophage for the first time in the film, it threw me off because I'd forgotten for a moment where he got that information. Yeah. Even though we'd heard it for the first time in the previous scene, I was like, wait, how did he remember this? I'm like, oh yeah, everything I'm seeing is his memory. And now he has access to the scene that we just saw as an audience. He has access, we have access. So I think it didn't handle it well. And I think the most important way it didn't handle it is in the scene that you just talked about, where that was so heavy in the book and it felt flat. It fell flat to me in the film as well. And Gosling's performance didn't feel as authentic in that moment as it otherwise did, because I just didn't believe that he cared that much because they hadn't set that up right.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Now, just to play the other side, a moment where I felt like his performance really came through as authentic and like a really powerful moment in the movie for me was the scene where he admits to Rocky that he's not going home, that it's a one-way trip, and that he's made peace with it, and Rocky basically gives him the solution of, you can have some of my astrophage. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll just go home slower, but you can go home. That scene, I think, was really, really good. I had chills. Ryan Gosling's performance in that moment, like the turnaround, like the emotion displayed on his face, I really did feel the impact of that moment. And so there are these important moments in the book, some of which I think were handled really, really well, and others I thought just really fell flat, unfortunately. But I think you nailed exactly why.
So I felt like that's another example of where it didn't work for me.
Really?
Because that's the first moment in the film where we see Gosling cope with the reality that he's on a suicide mission. And so in the first moment that he acknowledges that he's on a suicide mission, he's also acknowledging the fact that he may not be on. So I felt like there should have been earlier acknowledgement of him, whether he's talking to himself or doing the video thing or saying like, look, I'm here, I'm dead, I'm doing this for the human race, and I think that by establishing that better, the way that the book did, that the point, Rocky's sacrifice of the astrophage would have landed better, and later on, it would have landed better as well when he regains the memory of how he actually got there.
Yeah, I think I might disagree with you here. I think that the main time it's really acknowledged in the book is towards the beginning before he meets Rocky, and I think from the moment he meets Rocky, there's a level of excitement that takes over him that he kind of just uses to cope, like, or maybe even distract himself moving forward. Like, I don't feel like it was a constant thing that he was thinking. I think like it would pop up every now and then, but it
didn't pop up at all in the movie.
Towards the beginning of the movie, for sure, when he first woke up.
Only that he was on a suicide mission? I don't know that it did.
Maybe I'm misremembering.
Yeah,
I don't know. The scene of the reveal worked for me personally. I thought it worked well. Sure, it could have landed harder. And now I'm just bringing up things that I struggled with in the movie, or at least things that I thought the movie or the book did better. Mm-hmm. Another one of these scenes is also Rocky's sacrifice. When their maneuver goes wrong, Rocky has to come out of his bubble, right, to save Grace. in the book, I think that you really believe there's a legitimate chance that Rocky just sacrificed his life.
Yeah.
And the process that Grace takes to try to save him is much longer and much more complicated.
Agreed.
And even much more sacrificial.
Rather than just leaving him.
Yeah. And he actually also like gets extremely hurt by trying to save Rocky because of the different atmospheres and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot that goes into it. And meanwhile, in the book or in the movie, and I obviously knew where it was going, but I didn't feel the emotion that I would have liked to have felt during this scene.
I agree.
So it's just, there's these certain moments that I had high hopes for that didn't land.
Which is why I don't think we needed the second verse of Sign of the Times in sung in karaoke. Like that could have been cut as soon like the triumphant moment when she goes into the chorus and everyone's like, "Oh, dang." You know, like that, it should have ended after that. We didn't like.
Then
there was this like
cut to Harry Styles.
Okay, hold on.
While we're back in space,
exactly, and back in
doing
space.
different things.
Exactly. So there's an extra minute right there that could be cut for pacing and given to some of these other scenes that needed a little bit more loving. I mean, I you're right. It sounds like I didn't like this film, and that's not the case at all. I really like this film a lot.
Me too.
But I don't think that it is as good as the book. And that's not surprising. It almost never is. To your point, you thought The Martian was better than the book. This one just didn't. It's a good adaptation. It's not a really good adaptation the way that The Martian is.
I would actually even say that it is a really good adaptation, just not a perfect adaptation, because it was true to the book. Like it didn't really change very much at all, and that's oftentimes the issue with adaptations is it takes things in different directions or leaves things out. This movie didn't really leave too much out other than a lot of the science and math. So I feel like in a lot of ways they took what was in the book and they put it to screen, but I think that the book captured the emotion and the consequences of a lot of moments and processes a lot better than the movie did. That being said, I really loved this movie. It's a 4 out of 5 for me. I think it'll probably stay there, but there's potential for it to go up. I thought visually it was beautiful. I loved the camera work throughout the whole movie. Just the constant spinning of things. I thought it was genuinely very funny. There were several moments where the whole theater busted out laughing.
Yeah.
I thought the relationship between Grace and Rocky was very endearing.
Yeah.
Rocky was obviously adorable. They did a great job. Like, I wasn't exactly sure how I pictured Rocky in my head, based off of the description of the book. In fact, there were a lot of things I wasn't entirely sure what it looked like, including the astrophage and Talmiba and even some of the planets, Adrian and whatnot. And I felt like the movie did a really great job at visually bringing all these things to life in a way that made a lot of sense to me and felt very true. Almost like it unlocked my brain where it's like, oh yes, that's exactly what was like trying to bounce around up there, you know? So I really appreciated that. I loved the spacewalk scenes. I love the scene where they are learning to communicate. That's a really great sequence in the book, and I thought they did a pretty good job with it in the movie. And I personally like the ending of the movie a lot too, story wise. So I loved the movie. I really, really did enjoy it. It's one of my favorite books ever, so I'm going to be like pretty critical.
Yeah. So you gave this a 4 out of 5. You also gave The Martian a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
I gave The Martian a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I think The Martian could probably be a 4.5. Like as I'm thinking about it. Yeah. But I would probably firmly plant Project Hail Mary at a 4 for myself.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's a pretty dang good 4. You know, I feel like I'm talking about it like it's only a 3, but it's not. I mean, the performances and the story carry it really well.
We really love the book, and we're fresh off the book. We read the book this year, or within the last year, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I read the book after you did. I mean, like I think that because I originally had introduced you to The Martian, and then you read Project Hail Mary before I did, and we're like, you got to read this one. It's better than The Martian. I really enjoyed the book a lot.
Would you say you enjoyed the book more than The Martian?
I'm on the fence about that. Right now, I feel like I have a lot of recency bias toward it because I read The Martian, I don't know, a decade ago or whenever it originally came out. So I'm trying to go back in my memory and remember how it felt to read The Martian the first time, and I think that maybe I liked Project Hail Mary better, but they're pretty close to me. They're both really good
high
books.
quality books for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So great movie. We both recommend it. Both of us give it 4 stars on Letterboxd. Check out our reviews. Braden has a funny review I hear about this film.
I think
anything else you want to cover on this before we move on to homework?
Yeah, I think maybe it's just worth noting it was on one of our most anticipated lists. I believe mine. It could have been yours. Either way, I might have just put my foot in my mouth again. It probably is yours. But this is a movie that we were both very excited about. It made our top 10 most anticipated films of the year.
Yeah.
Do you have it pulled up?
I do.
What were our anticipated ratings?
4 stars.
4 stars each?
Yeah. Well, I don't know technically what yours is. I wrote down 4 stars because I'm the one that drafted it again.
There you go.
So you keep thinking you have these movies and you don't.
Yeah. We just talk about it. And with drafts like that, it's hard because it's like, it's something we both want and both are excited about. So it's hard to remember who exactly got what, because I guess there is a distinction between like, it was one of my most anticipated films of the year and it's on my list of most anticipated films of the year, which isn't necessarily my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's on our list. Yeah.
Yeah. It's on our draft.
Okay. So just to cover that, of our box office films, none of our box office movies have come out yet.
Correct.
For our box office prediction movies. So 1 through 10, none of them are out yet. We did just get trailers for 2 of them, Dune 3 and Brand New Day. We already had a trailer for The Odyssey and Toy Story 5. We also have a trailer now for Mario Galaxy.
Yep. Which is coming out like next week, I think.
Yeah. So, but in terms of our most anticipated, we now have 3 of our most anticipated films have been released. 3 of our 10 have actually been released. Number 5 was Project Hail Mary. We said 4 stars. We both gave it 4 stars. Number 6 was The Bone Temple.
Yep.
Also, we predicted 4 stars. I gave it a 4 star.
I gave it a 4 as well.
You gave it a 4 star also, so we're good there. And then The Bride was our number 9 pick, which I notoriously only gave 1 star to after a 4 star prediction. I think you gave it 2.5, right?
I gave it 2.5 after a 4 star prediction as well.
Yeah, 4 star prediction. So far we're 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
For our top 10 in terms of our predictions and our excitement. 33% fail rate isn't good, but we'll hopefully we get our fail rate goes down as the year continues.
Well, there's just no way that we're really rating Dune or The Odyssey like below a 4 star, and then I think Brand New Day looks pretty awesome. So
we have both Dune and The Odyssey
at 5
listed as 5-star predictions, which is a little aggressive. Which is a little aggressive considering we both see 5 stars as perfect.
I'm just manifesting it. I'm calling the shot. I need those both to be perfect movies. I need them to be.
I really want them to be too. All right, fantastic. All right, thanks for listening to our main topic. We're going to move now into homework.
Homework.
Yeah.
I did it.
We both saw some films, and Braden's getting better at doing his homework these days. All right, let's talk a little bit about your assignment. I gave you The Philadelphia Story, starring Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, and Jimmy Stewart. This is a black and white film. This is a classic rom-com before such things were referred to as such. What did you think of The Philadelphia Story?
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and probably not as much as you enjoy it. In fact, I know not, because you have it listed as a 5-star movie.
Yeah,
and
it's a perfect film to me.
And I actually read your review after I watched the movie, and you basically predicted that this would be a harder film to digest simply due to the context of it and the main plot having a lot to do with something that just doesn't exist at all today.
Yeah.
Being like privacy from press and whatnot, and the concept of, somebody coming into your home and whatnot.
Yeah, it's a bubble for sure.
Yeah.
It's very of its time.
So I think your prediction was spot on, and that's exactly how I felt. That a lot of what was happening in the movie and treated as like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. I could believe it, So it was kind of there was a bit of a disconnect there.
Yeah.
I thought the performances were very fun, and some of them very good. I thought the characters were very charming in a lot of ways. It was very cozy. There's a scene specifically. What scene was it? It might have been one of the scenes at the party, where I'm just sitting there and thinking like, I could definitely just like listen to this, like keep this on in the background and like just feel like classic cozy vibes. Then there are other
drunk Jimmy Stewart in this is an all-time banger.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's so good in that role when he decides to get drunk on champagne.
Yeah. Then there are other moments that are definitely like, a lot more anxiety driven, like there are secrets that need to be kept and then and whatnot and reveals that happen. I thought overall the ending was not my favorite of the options, because basically throughout this movie she kind of at one point or another has 3 options of who she's going to be marrying or ending up with. I thought the actual answer to said question was not my least favorite, but not my most preferred either. But then also I definitely recognized a few iconic moments from this movie that I didn't necessarily know were from this movie. So overall, I enjoyed this film.
Good.
I think I gave it a 3-star on Letterboxd.
Yes, you did. 3 stars.
And I would definitely probably watch it again down the line, just not a super regular rewatch. But I will say it was my least favorite of the classics you've given me so far.
Yeah, I think the best lessons to pull from this, or the way to really appreciate this film, is to appreciate the dialogue writing and the performances by Grant, Hepburn, and Stewart. Like this film, I think, is written like a play. I think it's even potentially adapted from a play, but it's written like a play. It reads like a play, and they perform it like a play in a way that is just really good. Like they're really letting the dialogue be the star of the film and allowing their charisma to be enhanced by that dialogue. I think it's a great example of great dialogue writing.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I wasn't particularly looking out for that. Had I, maybe I would have noticed it a little more. But I can't disagree with you.
Right. Well, I'm glad you can appreciate this type of film at all.
Oh, of course,
even if you can't appreciate it as much as I do.
I've definitely enjoyed the classics that you've given me. I just I think maybe you're in with me on classics is going to be like a level of mystery or thriller.
Yeah, and this is not, rather than a romantic comedy. It's interesting because there's another one that I almost gave you, and I pivoted the last minute, but it's another Hepburn and Grant film called Bringing Up Baby.
I've heard of
definitely
it.
Also a comedy, and they're just both so funny in it that I think that you'll appreciate it. But comedy is so of an era. All comedy, it's very now.
And so I have to transport myself back into a time that I don't understand completely.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it a little hard.
Well, I appreciate your willingness to give it a shot, and I'm glad that you appreciated it, given that context.
Yeah, no, I did. I gave you...
Listen, I act like... Hold on one second. I act like this film came out when I was a kid. It didn't. I mean, it was 40 years old before I was born.
Yeah.
And so I think that even for me, it was, the first time I watched it, it was like, oh, okay, this is it. This idea of the press is quaint. Even in the 80s and 90s, I thought it was quaint,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, not a bad recommendation at all. I gave you a movie called I Care a Lot, a little more recent movie. A little bit. What'd you think?
I gave it 3 stars. I thought, there were aspects as I was giving it 3 stars, there was a part of me thinking, am I giving this too many? Like, is this really a 2.5 for me? But I was feeling generous. I will say that there are, I enjoyed the film. There are parts of it that I found a little annoying and taking me out of the movie. But all in all, I liked it. And I was surprised that I hadn't previously seen it. When it first started, I was convinced I was going to hate it.
Yeah, it starts off in that way.
Yeah, it was just it was just so scummy and so frustrating and just a little scary, even, in to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be riddled with anxiety through this whole movie.
Right.
Luckily, there's a tone shift that, when a different type of criminal is introduced, that really made me feel more at home. And I was like, oh, thank God
gangsters.
Thank God we have murderers now. That helps me out. I needed some killers to, make this a little bit more palatable. And so when there's an introduction that maybe not all is what it seems, and you've got this, the seedy, more traditional criminal underbelly, rather than something that seems like way too real, I started to get into it a little bit better. But then it did start to bother me when, the real criminals were so much less intelligent than the than our is she our protagonist? Would we call Marla our protagonist?
You definitely bring up a very interesting point, and I actually read your review for this movie as well on Letterboxd, and I thought it was maybe my favorite review you've ever left for a movie, because it couldn't have been more in line with exactly how I was feeling, but had not necessarily put into words. Every issue you had with this movie, I had with this movie. I 100% agree with you. The reason I gave you this movie was because in a lot of ways it reminded me of A Simple Favor, which was a movie that you assigned to me. And so I thought there might be some kind of correlation. Maybe you would appreciate the tone or vibe of this movie. But you didn't feel that at all. I'm
trying to figure out if I felt like a kinship to it. I don't know that I did, really. I'm not sure that I felt like I was going like, oh yeah, this is Simple Favor vibes, okay. But like I said, I enjoyed the movie.
You're not mad you watched it.
I'm not mad I watched it. It was an interesting choice. I think I'm giving it a generous 3.
Generous 3. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What am I watching this week?
Okay. This week you are watching a film that, unfortunately, you're probably going to have to ask my uncle
for some help finding,
to throw onto a platform for us to view. And that's going to be a movie that has a little bit of a complicated history, and we've actually touched on it on the podcast before, right at the beginning. So one of the first TikToks I ever posted for the podcast. This movie is going to be Magazine Dreams, starring Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you go on Letterboxd, this movie is labeled as 2023, and it just saw the light of day, towards the end of last year. Obviously, very controversial figure now. Seems that he's done some bad things, some pretty horrible things. But also there's no denying that he was a really good actor. Seemed like a really great up-and-coming actor. Like he was just going to kind of dominate Hollywood for a while. And I watched this movie because I wanted to see what this was about. And it's one of those situations where I watched it and I was like, it really is such a damn shame that you went and blew up your life.
Yeah.
Because you provided us with an art that I think is really amazing. And so it's very disappointing in that sense. So I have no idea if this movie is going to resonate or land with you, because it's weird, and it's like a very specific kind of film that I don't know that you or I always appreciate as much, but I think it's worth watching, especially for the main performance. Okay. And so I'm very curious to see what you think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I know anything about the plot or anything else about this film other than the fact that it was a highly anticipated film starring Jonathan Majors that then got shelved for a few years because of his personal his personal actions. It's funny. Rewind 3 years ago, had the question been comparing these two stars of Creed 3 to ask like who's which of the two of them is going to win an Oscar for Best Actor first, I would have put money on Majors. 100%. I would have put money on Majors. Props
with this movie
to
too, though.
Michael B. Jordan, but
that's what the buzz was with this movie as well, like Oscar buzz for this movie.
Yeah.
As it was, being reviewed very early on back in 2023. So that's part of it too. Like, I think that in a different world, there was a legitimate possibility he could have won an Oscar for this movie. So I do think it's very interesting. It is a very interesting what if.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Did you see it in theaters?
No, I did not.
Okay. All right. So you rented it or something? Good. All right. Well,
no,
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Money. I have my ways.
All right. Fair enough. We'll let you keep your secrets. All right.
All right.
I'm giving you this week. I'm giving you a Wes Anderson film called Moonrise Kingdom.
Okay.
This is one of my favorite Wes Anderson films. I think it is one of his more underrated films, and I think it's one of those that will kind of just warm your heart. And you certainly need to get into West mode. I want you to put on a teeny weeny beanie and a little striped shirt like you're wearing right now, and I want you to stand very tall and erect while you watch it in a perfectly perpendicular to the television while you're doing it. But yes, watch Moonrise Kingdom. I think it's really cute and adorable and sweet and funny and poignant, and it's one of my favorite Wes Anderson films.
All right. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, we've ranked, we've debated, we disagreed, but not about who shot first. Damn it. All just another day in the galaxy.
So whether you're Gen X, Gen Z, or somewhere lost in the timeline, please continue to listen, like, share, and subscribe to I Am Your Father.
Until the next episode, remember that with great power comes a great second breakfast and hopefully a great fourth movie from Tom Holland. But winter's also coming, so may the Force live long and prosper.
Fist my bump. That's not it. Oh,
that's
no,
not
okay.